The Piglet's Flight. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in the era we now call the Stone Age, there lived a domesticated piglet who was friends with a cute little bird. They got along wonderfully. The piglet was fed by people with leftovers from their meals, pieces of vegetables and fruits, but often also received surplus grains that were left over. The piglet lived well. He especially loved to root around in the ground for roots. Often he would set aside food for his friend, the little bird, especially when he received grains. The bird liked grains the most. To reward her friend for his generosity, she would tell him everything she saw during the day. Since she could fly, she saw many things. She saw how wild animals lived, how domestic animals lived, how the people where the piglet lived went about their lives, and how people in more distant areas lived. To avoid boring the piglet, she made up all kinds of stories and told them as if they were true, although it wasn't necessary. The piglet would never have gotten bored of her stories, even if she told only the truth. But she didn't know that. On one rainy day, to pass the time faster, the bird told the piglet that beyond the hill there was a great river. Beyond the river was a great hill. After that great hill, there was an even larger river. And beyond that river, there was a very tall mountain whose peak reached up to the sky. There, under the foothills of that mountain, lived flying wild pigs. The entire herd of pigs could fly. And what a sight it was when 50 pigs flew in the air, blocking out the sun. The piglet was terribly amused, imagining that the sun couldn't be seen because of the flying pigs, and he asked the bird to tell him more about the flying pigs. The little bird continued to make up stories. She told him that over there, the pigs lived in peace with each other, that they held beauty contests with the butterflies, and that they were so colorful that the judges had a hard time deciding the winners. Sometimes the butterflies won, and other times the pigs did. She lied to him like this every day until she started to believe her own stories. They both became so convinced that one day the piglet asked her to teach him how to fly. The little bird was an excellent flyer, and if the pigs beyond the hill could fly, why shouldn't he be able to fly too? The little bird immediately said yes. It seemed she already believed her own tales and began to think about how to teach the piglet to fly. First, she told him to stand only on his hind legs so his front legs would be free, and to flap his front legs until he started to lift off the ground. The piglet tried, but since he wasn't used to standing only on his hind legs and they weren't strong enough to support him, he didn't succeed. They agreed that from then on, he would train as much as possible each day to strengthen his hind legs and be able to stand on them. The piglet did just that. Every day he tried, but he kept falling down, sometimes making sounds as if a sack had hit the ground. At such moments, they both laughed heartily. But after a while, the training paid off, and the piglet walked on 2 legs as if he were a human and not a quadruped. He could even hop on 2 legs as if he were a little sparrow. They celebrated this achievement with a hearty dinner of grains, which they both enjoyed. The next day, a new round of training began. The piglet had to stand only on his hind legs and flap his front legs as fast as he could. The piglet did this, but nothing happened. He didn't lift off the ground even by an inch. He was too heavy. Then the little bird had an idea. She told the piglet to keep training as best as he could, to stay strong, while she went to gather as many feathers shed by other birds as possible. She planned to attach those feathers to the piglet's front legs, and with the help of the feathers, he would be able to lift off the ground and fly over hills and rivers. Said and done. The piglet continued his training, and the little bird flew everywhere she hoped to find feathers. After a few days, the little bird returned. She had a sack tied around her neck, filled with all kinds of feathers: eagle feathers, hawk feathers, owl feathers, woodpecker feathers, pheasant feathers, wild chicken feathers, duck feathers, goose feathers. Everything she found, she brought home. The piglet was overjoyed. He rolled in a puddle of thick mud, which made the feathers stick to him. And then the little bird, above the piglet's head, opened the sack of feathers, which immediately stuck to the piglet. He then stood up on his hind legs and started running around to gain speed, but that didn't work. Then he climbed onto a log and flapped his front legs even faster. The whole scene was witnessed by the piglet's owners, who had never seen such a spectacle in their lives. They laughed uproariously. Indeed, it was very funny to see the piglet with a big belly, standing on two legs, covered in feathers, and the little bird still pouring feathers on him, just like people nowadays throw confetti and rose petals at weddings. Feathers flew everywhere. The piglet flapped his legs, and because of the effort, he made some extremely amusing sounds. You can imagine what a comedy unfolded before the owners. Secretly and quietly, so as not to spoil the show, they ran to call the neighbors to see their feathered piglet dance. The little bird also chirped. It was like a ballet performance, but very funny. The neighbors came, and they too were terribly amused. Then, by common agreement, since in those tribal times everything was decided together, the tribe decided that this amusing piglet would never be slaughtered. Everyone agreed without exception, and that was the piglet's great fortune. He never learned to fly, but because of this event, he enjoyed a long and happy life. His friendship with the little bird lasted all their lives, and they both lived well. The piglet gave her grains, and she told stories and more stories, her beautiful tales never ending. Their friendship became a legend in the tribe, a testament to the magic of kindness and imagination.
The events and characters in this story are fictional. The historical facts are as follows. People in the Stone Age domesticated pigs, feeding them leftovers, pieces of vegetables, and fruits. As agriculture developed more and more, pigs were also fed grains and other cultivated plants.